Hi guys, it is Aoife from Fred We Died Laughing and I'm here with another weekly wrap up. So I got a good bit of reading done this week. I managed to read 5 books in total and some of them were good, some of them weren't so good, and I will tell you all about them now. So the first book that I got finished this week was Girl from Above by Pippa DiCosta. This is a book that I originally got off NetGalley and it's kind of the first in a series of shorter stories that are all on Amazon. They're pretty cheap on Amazon. They're only like $1.99 per story, and each story I think is about 175 to 200 pages, so it doesn't take too long to read. And it is basically about a synthetic human called 1001, and she's referred to as a synth, so she's kind of like a artificial intelligence, I guess, kind of like a robot, and she is basically a stowaway on this captain's ship, this captain called Caleb Shepherd, who is a bit of a rogue captain. He used to be kind of in the army that is on this kind of scientific sci-fi-esque world, and he's not anymore. He got kicked out, so he's a bit of a rogue trader now, and she is a stowaway on his ship and he finds her and they're trying to figure out who she is, what she's doing. She doesn't seem to fit into the normal stereotype of synthetic humans. She seems to be like going on her own agenda, which is not what they do, and it's kind of figuring out what her ultimate plan is and kind of figure out what she's doing. And this ended up being pretty good. I enjoyed it for what it was, which was just kind of a shorter, fun story. It wasn't too confusing at all to follow. Like sometimes I find with these kind of sci-fi galaxy-esque books, sometimes get a little bit confusing about like names of places and ships and like all that kind of stuff, and alien races and different races and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes it gets a little bit confusing, but this one definitely didn't. So I gave it a strong 3 stars for what it was, and I think I will continue on with the next book in the series soon. The next book I read was The Girl in 6E by AR Torre. This is the book I got from the library, but I brought it back so I don't have a physical copy of it. But this is about a woman called Deanna who is a sex cam girl, and she's locked herself into her apartment and she just gets her money from doing these sex acts on camera, and she gets paid by subscribers and people who come and watch her do things and have private chats with her and stuff like that. And she has locked herself into this apartment because she has a really strong urge to go out and kill people, and she's trying to stop herself from doing this. I've heard a lot about this book, and so I was expecting high things going into it, and it definitely didn't disappoint. I really enjoyed it overall. I gave it a 4 stars. I found the character of Deanna really interesting. Like, she has this tendency to murder people and she fantasizes about all these different ways she can murder people, but deep down she was actually a really like decent human being. Like, she was a really good character. Like, she looked after people. Like, there's people who she would come to know through her job as a sex cam girl, and she would try and help them as much as she could. She'd try and get them to stay away from other sex cam girls that could exploit them out of their money or out of different things, and she didn't do that, and she tried to like keep people safe from that kind of thing. And I just thought that was like really like decent of her. And then she has really interesting relationships with different people. She's 2 different psychiatrists and she's completely different relationships with them, and it was just really fun seeing her interact with these people. There is a lot of graphic sex scenes in this because of her job. She does describe what she's doing quite a lot, so if you're not into those kind of scenes or writing that does describe sexual acts really graphically, this isn't for you. It did definitely make me feel a bit embarrassed when I was reading it on public transport. I was like afraid someone would see what I was reading, so I was like kind of like keeping the book really kind of tight towards me so people couldn't see the pages that I was reading. But there were times I think that the graphic sexual nature was there just for it to be there, just for it to be shocking at different times. Like, there was times where it was necessary, but then there was also times where it wasn't completely necessary. I felt that, so there could have been probably a little bit of a cut out. So yeah, but overall I really enjoyed it. This was definitely thrilling. I was definitely on the edge of my seat wondering what she was going to be doing, and yeah, a 4 stars, and I'll definitely continue on with the series. The next book I got off NetGalley from Random House Publishing, and it was The Good Goodbye by Carla. This book took me by surprise because I wasn't expecting to like it so much, and it's about 2 girls who are cousins and best friends, and they were college dorm mates, and they have both been in a fire in their dorm room, and they're both lying kind of in critical condition in the hospital, and their parents are trying to figure out what was going on, what started the fire, how did they end up in the fire, how did they end up so badly injured, and it's kind of trying to unravel this mystery around it. So it's kind of like a suspenseful drama novel, I guess, with a little bit of mystery in it, and you're just kind of having some flashbacks where you're finding out about the girls, who they are, what caused them to be at college together, what caused like kind of all these events leading up to this fire, and about who started it, why it was started, you know, what the purpose of it was, all this kind of stuff. And then you're also kind of finding out family secrets and all these different things at the same time, and you're seeing how the parents are reacting to their children being in such critical condition in the hospital as well. So this was really, really good. It definitely kind of sucked me in, and I was definitely kind of on the edge of my seat trying to figure out what had happened. I was really guessing until almost the very end about who had done what and why it had been done, and there were definitely some times where I was like, what? Oh my god, like reading it. There was really times where it really made me go. This definitely did what it was supposed to. It definitely kept me guessing. It definitely kept me entertained until the very end. I think the ending was a little bit flatter than I was expecting it to be, but I guess everything else had been such a big build up. I think I don't know what it could have been done to make it more exciting, but I felt just a little bit like it kind of went up, and then it kind of dropped down to a little bit of a boring level at the very end. But overall I gave it a 4 stars, and I really, really enjoyed it. The next book I got was A Stolen Kiss by Kelsey Keating. This is another book I got from NetGalley by Swanfide Publishing, and this is about a princess in kind of a fairy tale land, and she has been cursed, and she goes out on an adventure to try and find the sorceress who cursed her, to try and remove the curse. And she goes with her prince, who she's supposed to be getting engaged to, her lady's maid, and then the lady's maid brother, who is the stable boy, who is supposed to help them find the sorceress. And she basically, it's just like this adventure through this fairy tale land, through kind of this enchanted forest, and finding out all these different magical creatures like centaurs and shapeshifters and, you know, griffins and all this kind of different things. They all kind of come about within this novel. And then the stable boy, Derek, he has kind of a secret that he's trying not to let the princess know about, and he's kind of attached, he has kind of a connection to her curse, and they're trying to keep it from her. And this was good. There was some bits that were, you know, it was kind of, this is a first novel, so I think it did suffer from that a little bit. There was some of the writing wasn't as strong as it could have been, and then there was a little thing about the dialogue where I think at times too much was being said for it to be a realistic dialogue, if you get what I mean. And that's just something that kind of annoys me personally within books. I hate when there's like too much said all the time, and I'm kind of like, well, people wouldn't actually talk like that in real life. So that kind of annoyed me, but it was just fun. It didn't take itself too seriously, I guess, and it was just a little bit of fun, and I gave it a 3 stars out of 5. And the last book I read, I finished just today, and this was Starborn by Lucy Hounsom. This was really, really disappointing. I was expecting so much more from this book, even just for the beautiful cover. This is about a girl called Kindra who runs away from her home the day that she's supposed to be going through this ceremony, which is supposed to tell her what to do for the rest of her life, basically. And these two strangers take her away when this really terrible thing happens to her hometown, and they take her to a place where people with magical powers are living that she never knew about before, and these people have kind of solar and lunar powers depending on the time of day, and they think that she has powers, and they're trying to figure out what her power is, and yada yada yada, that kind of stuff. This was just really boring for most of it. Like we really didn't get any answers until like literally like 50 pages from the end, and that's when you actually start figuring out who she is, what any kind of power she does have, what it is, and like you're obviously kind of guess what she is, but it seems to take so long for it to get there. It was just really kind of irritating and boring, and none of the characters really stood out for me. I didn't have a connection to any of the characters, and they just felt really disjointed and messy. There kept being this play on like a relationship between two of the characters, but it wasn't the main character, it was two side characters, and it kind of kept coming back to that, and like there wasn't enough going on that like this, like, you know, there should have been so much of an emphasis on this relationship. It was just something that was just now and again came through, and it was just really like annoying and really boring, and I just didn't care about it. And the world building was just a little bit, I don't know, it wasn't as great as it could have been. Like, there was a lot of history there, but it was just told in a really crappy way, and I don't know, the whole book was just a bit of a mess, and I just really didn't enjoy it. Like, I literally was considering, like, just putting this down and not finishing it, like, 100 pages from the end. And, like, I was literally almost there. I only had, like, a tiny bit left, and I was like, do I even want to finish this? And that probably shows how bad it was for me. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. I was kind of saying maybe I would pick up the next book if I saw it in the library or something, but I'm honestly not sure if I would or not. The writing just definitely didn't get on with me. The plot didn't come together for me the way it was supposed to, and overall I was just really, really disappointed with it. I'm really, like, I was really expecting, I don't know why, but I was really expecting big things from this book, and it just was just such a letdown. So yeah, 2 out of 5 stars. I wouldn't really recommend at all. So yeah. So a bit of a mixed bag this week, but hopefully this next week will be better reading wise, and yeah. So please let me know what you guys have been reading, what you think of the books I've read. As usual, like if you like the video, comment down below, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye!